friends, it's Walter Zimrock here with a video featuring 4 cards that I made with the April Love Notes Love From Lizi kit. For the first card, we're going to be using an A2 sized pink card base, a piece of the patterned paper that's been cut down to 3.75 inches by 5 inches, one of the ephemera pieces. We'll be using the Enjoy the Little Things stamp set and some of the peel-off strips. Let's get started. I start by putting some double-sided tape onto the back of the green patterned paper panel and adhering it down onto my card base. I then take a pink peel-off and I align it onto one of the sides of my card panel. Once I reach the end, I snip off the remaining, and then I do the same to each of the other 3 sides. I align a sentiment stamp and 3 stems and leaves stamps onto my note card ephemera, and I go ahead and stamp them. I use black ink for my sentiment, and then I use green ink for the leaves and stems. I then align some hearts and some flower stamps onto the stems. And once in place, I use pink ink to stamp them. Double-sided tape is put onto the back of that panel, and I put it down onto my card. I choose one of the green sparkle stickers and I place it down onto the side of the note card panel. When I have it in place, I go ahead and snip the end off and then repeat that process on the other 3 sides. I add 3 green gems onto the card and it's finished. Really quick and easy, but really pretty as well. Card number 2 uses an A2 yellow fold down card base, a 4 inch by 5.25 inch piece of patterned plaid paper, one of the ephemera note cards that has flowers that coordinate with the colors, one of the flower stickers, and sentiment stickers. I fold my card base and use my bone folder to make sure that the card has a nice crease in it. I cut the plaid patterned paper into 3 strips that measure 1 inch by 5.25 inches. I then take some double-sided tape, put it onto the back of each of the strips, and I'll adhere them down to my card base. I do so making sure that there's about an equal amount of space on each of the sides between the edge of the card and the strip, and then I center the last one in between the 2 of them. I select one of the flower stickers to place onto the note card panel and center it towards the bottom of the white space. And I then choose one of the sentiments, "Make Today Beautiful," and center it at the top of the white space. Double-sided foam tape is applied onto the back of the note card panel. I take a green glitter peel-off and run it in between the first two strips of the patterned paper, and then cut off the bottom. And then I repeat and do the same thing between the second and third strips of patterned paper. I peel off the back of the double-sided foam tape and adhere the panel down centered onto the card base. I take 3 green gems and put them into the center of the 3 green flowers on the sticker, and then the card is complete. I think this is a really fun design. It's really pretty and is sure to bring a smile to someone's face. This third card is really going to be a lot of fun. We're going to use a piece of yellow cardstock that we're going to cut to make a top fold card base. We're going to use some of the patterned paper from the kit, some of the sentiment stickers, and some of the other stickers. I cut my cardstock the long way so that I have a full A2 sized fold down card base. I score it at 5.5 inches and then I fold it. I then take my second piece of the yellow cardstock and I score it at 1/2 inch, then score it at 2 inches, and then score it again at 3.5 inches. I then take my paper trimmer and I cut off the cardstock at the 3.5 inch scored line. The piece of patterned paper with the cameras on it is cut to 4 inches by 5.25 inches. Double-sided tape is applied to the back of it, and it's adhered down onto the card base. I then take the other piece of yellow cardstock and I fold it at each of the scored lines and grab my bone folder and burnish each of them just to get a good crease onto them. I then take my craft glue, put it onto the inside of the 1/2 inch piece, and then apply that piece so that the 1/2 inch piece is behind the top cover of the card. This creates a step base for the card. I trim the patterned paper that has the frames on it down to a strip that is 1.5 inches by 4 inches. Put double-sided tape onto the back of it, and then adhere it down onto the front of the step. I select a frame sticker, and put double-sided foam tape around the back of 3 of the sides, leaving one of the sides without any tape. I adhere that frame down onto a piece of scrap white cardstock and then fussy cut around the frame. I choose a red alcohol marker to color around the outside of the frame. Give it a nice little splash of color. And a bright yellow alcohol marker to color along the inside of the frame. I put craft glue onto the back of that frame and then adhere it down onto the card base. I then take another scrap of white cardstock and cut it down to 1.75 inches by 2.5 inches. As you can see, it slides right into the frame. I put one of the postage stamp stickers onto the panel, but you could easily scale and print a picture of someone or you and someone to put in here instead. I apply some double-sided foam tape strips onto the back of one of the camera stickers, and then press that sticker onto the card. I put double-sided foam tape strips onto the back of one of the other stickers and adhere it down to the card as well. There are some really great sentiment stickers with this kit, and so I choose the ones that say take a picture and it'll last longer. I put them onto a piece of scrap cardstock and then cut that strip out. And I put some double-sided foam tape behind the sentiment strip. And it's the perfect size to apply onto the front of the step. I choose a couple of flower stickers to put up at the top of the card panel. And just like that, this fun and sassy card is complete. This fourth card is a lot of fun. I start by fussy cutting out the ephemera card panel that has the typewriter and the frame and the saying, "It went like this." I then proceed to fussy cut out just the frame and the typewriter so that the patterned cardstock around it is not a part of it. I run a black alcohol marker around the edges of that cutout just to cover up any white that might be seen. I create a white A2 sized card base, fold the cardstock, and then burnish it with my bone folder. And I cut a piece of the black glossy cardstock from the kit down to 4 inches by 5.25. Adhere some double-sided tape onto the back of it and center it onto the card base. I put double-sided foam tape onto the back of the frame and typewriter cutout and adhere it down into the center of the glossy black cardstock. I then select some sentiment strips that I want to put onto the paper inside of the frame. I choose This Is Our Story, A Legacy of Love, and the last one is I Just Want to Remember It All. And that last one I cut into 3 pieces to allow it to fit inside of the frame. I adhere varying sizes of the white hearts around the black glossy cardstock, just to add another decorative element and to further symbolize the love that is really at the center of this card. I then take some of the gold peel-offs and put them around the outside of the black glossy cardstock. I start with one side, lay it down, cut it at the end, and repeat for the other 3 sides. And just like that, this really pretty 4th card is done.